This is Bruce Bochy, and you're listening to the Ranger Report.
Oh, the Ranger Report. Yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want the inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go!
This is the Ranger Report Podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter, Kane McCutcheon, and CJ Berryman.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ranger Report Podcast. It has been a hot minute since we have done a show. I am Ben Dieter, he is Kane McCutcheon. Kane, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm honored that after this long layoff, you guys still want me to come back on the show.
Well, Happy New Year to you, Kane.
Happy New Year.
And Merry Christmas and everything else. We haven't talked since well, we've texted, but we haven't done the show since late November.
Sure, right. And y'all still invite me back, so here I am.
Well, the reason we've been off on the show, I'll let everybody know, December the 9th, I had invasive back surgery, a serious back surgery where they chopped me open and did a bunch of stuff inside. And I have been in recovery now for 3.5 weeks. I'm finally up moving around halfway decent. So I texted Kane and CJ and I was like, hey guys, let's do a show. And Kane was like, heck yeah. And then, CJ couldn't do it. He's sick. Apparently he caught good old COVID again. So he's down with COVID. But Kane and I are here and we got a lot to talk about tonight, don't we, Kane?
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff going down.
So let's start, I guess, with Marcus Semien. Let's start with Marcus Semien. I haven't talked to you about how your feelings on that article came out that said that he was not happy in the organization, that, he kind of struggled. He wasn't getting along with everybody. So sort of talk about what you think about that situation and bringing in Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's important to acknowledge that, for everyone, this is a very bittersweet move, right? You're moving on from the captain of the first World Series team, the unofficial captain of the first World Series team in franchise history, the heart and soul of the team. It stinks. And obviously, it wasn't supposed to end this way, right? He signs a 7-year deal and you think, he's going to play the duration of the deal out. Yeah. And it just wasn't working out at the end of the day. It wasn't working out at the plate. And I think that's what this is about more than anything. I know you mentioned the reports of, him not getting along, whatever, X, Y, and Z. That in concrete, and I've seen some stuff that has come out, I will say in concrete, verbatim, that is not something that's specifics like that per se. I'm going to be careful I say specifics. I wouldn't say it's something that has come across my desk. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying there weren't disagreements, because I do sense that there was some disagreements. There was some tension in the clubhouse. That I am acknowledging. But however, what I'm not acknowledging is who was in what, where it was sliced up. That I don't know. And maybe it's true. But that's not something that came across my desk. But at the end of the day, it's bittersweet to move on from someone like that. But, bringing in Brandon Nimmo, you're bringing in a guy who's been consistent over the last, throughout a lot of his career, some much needed, a more contact centered bat to the lineup. Someone that I think maybe what a lot of people aren't talking about across the baseball landscape is how much a change of scenery and getting out of New York might benefit him, whether that's this year or next year or years down the road. I think that's something that should be highlighted. And look, it just wasn't working out, and I'm sure we're going to talk about the other World Series heroes that were moved on from. It just wasn't working out. Changes were needed, and this was one of them.
Yeah, I agree. And to piggyback off what you said, Marcus never said anything about having a problem here, about having disagreements with anyone. It was a report from, I believe, John Morosi, I think, reported it. But there was no, I mean, we're there, you're there almost every day. I'm there every once in a while. And I've never seen it where it looked like he was kept apart from those guys, where he wouldn't talk to anyone. I mean, he looked like everybody else out on the field. He didn't look like he had any trouble. I know Seager doesn't come out for batting practice and all that, but it seemed like everything was fine to me. And like you said, Brandon Nimmo looks, I mean, he can hit the ball, like you said, for power, and he can also hit for average. He can place the ball. And like, look what happened to DeGrom when he got out of New York. He loves it in Texas, and hopefully Nimmo will have the same response.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, like, yeah, I mean, every day if there's one guy, like, it doesn't matter if the season is over, like what's happening, day game, night game. If there's one guy that's always out there getting in his work, always out there talking to his teammates, it's Marcus Semien. Like, it was every single day. And so like, to say like all of a sudden there's this big tension between him and everyone else, and maybe there was behind the scenes, sure. But like, that's not something that like was noticeable. I'm not saying it did or didn't happen, but from my perspective, like it wasn't something that was like drastically noticeable or even like affected the way like things were on the field. Like, it's not, again, too, also like, you got to think of the nature of the sport. Like, it's not basketball where you're sharing a ball. Like, it's baseball. Like, obviously maybe that stuff is not going to be as visible, but from my perspective, I don't think that was a driving factor in the trade. I'll say that. I think that's being overblown as, Marcus Semien was traded because he's beefing with his teammates. I don't think that was hardly, if anything, to do with it, and more so just you needed to mix things up.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of mixing things up, well, first thing, Bruce Bochy didn't come back, and Skip Shoemaker is now the manager. So again, we haven't done a show in forever. So we're just sort of covering the basis of what we missed while we were off. And then, of course, Jonah Heim was non-tendered. Adolis Garcia was non-tendered. And who was the pitcher? They non-tendered.
Jacob Webb.
Yeah, sorry, Jacob Webb. So all three of those. Jacob Webb wasn't a World Series hero, but he was dang good for us last year. So talk a little bit, I guess, start with Jonah Heim, because, man, that World Series year, he was amazing. And then he had 2 years of, not being so great at the plate. Anyway, talk about Jonah Heim first and your thoughts on him going.
Yeah. I know you mentioned Bruce Bochy, and I'm sure like we can both talk about that for.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I'm sure we're going to get into that. I'm very excited to get into that. Jonah Heim, yeah. Look, like, again, with Marcus Semien, like, it just wasn't working out. Like, it's back-to-back years of a, sub 225 batting average season. And I know the whole thing about batting average, whatever. I think it's still a relative indicator of what you're doing at the plate. And it wasn't working out, right? Like, he was struggling. He kind of even, like, I don't know if a lot of, maybe someone would go as far as to say like fell out of favor when it comes with Bruce Bochy last year. Kyle Higashioka was getting a lot of the reps behind the plate toward the middle, the end of the season. And it just wasn't working out. You knew what you were going to get with the glove, with the frame rate. It was excellent. But at the plate, like, that's where you make your money. I always say, if you hit, you can stick. And you needed to switch things up. And I know we're going to talk about Garcia too. And I want to bring up point, because I can already envision if one or both of them has a good or decent year, people that we know and love are going to be flipping out. Why didn't the Rangers keep them? Why did the Rangers, X, Y, and Z. I just wanted, before it even started, can we just like squash it before it even started? That's not fair. You cannot tell me that those guys were going to do this here. Like, it just wasn't working out. Again, great 2023 for Jonah Heim. That was an outlier. Okay. It always was. We acknowledged that, even going into 2024. Okay. We knew players like Jonah Heim, like, they need to continue their outlier year that they just had. And unfortunately he did not. And it was pretty clear that this was going to be the result.
Yeah, and I agree with you with Jonah Heim. I mean, a great dude too. I really like him. He's still a free agent. No one has picked him up yet, so he's still out there, available, and he could possibly re-sign with the Rangers, but I don't see that happening. I mean, he could, but I think they parted ways for a reason. Like you said, at the plate the last 2 years, just didn't have it. Higashioka took his place in a lot of games, and they've already gone out and gotten another catcher who we haven't talked about yet, but we will later. So, they're definitely moving on from him. And I'll start with Adolis, postseason hero, World Series hero, champion, ALCS, owned the Astros in the ALCS in 2023. But it has been hit or miss since then. He's either been on a streak where he hits a lot of home runs or he swings. The pitcher could drop the ball on the mound and he would swing at it. Is kind of what it looked like last year. Like that dude was swinging at everything. I know he's with the Phillies now. Philadelphia picked him up. And that hopefully, I wish him success. I hope he does really well in Philadelphia. But like you said, if he does, don't complain about it because he wasn't doing well here. And the change of scenery, a lot of times, look at Chris Davis back in the day. Chris Davis was terrible with Texas. He went to Baltimore and he was incredible because he got out of his hometown. He got away from everything and he was able to kind of focus again and learn about baseball. So Adolis, yeah, I'm going to miss him. I'll miss his bat. I'll especially miss his arm in the field because his throwing arm was fantastic. But yeah, I agree. It was time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you summed it up with Garcia. You knew what you're going to get with the glove. The glove was spectacular.
Yep.
Had great range for a big muscular dude. Like he had insane range. The arm was just crazy. I mean, gunning guys out left and right. You couldn't run on him, and forever will be, a DFW sports icon and beloved in this Metroplex. Like even till the very end, the fans were behind him. But it just wasn't working out. And I like what you mentioned about, his approach at the plate, because that's what it came down to for me. Yep. Was the plate approach was not there. And this leads to a bigger picture. I guess I'm not going to get into hitting philosophy. I'm sure we might talk about that, but like as a team per se, Garcia is one of those guys where you are like, okay, I think you can acknowledge that there's going to be some swing and miss there, and you'll take that in order to get the power, but it just wasn't, not that much swing and miss, right? Like you're going to take some, but that crossed the line for sure. And I do think there is a good chance that he is closer to the 2021 through 2023 player in Philadelphia. I mean, he's not going to be anywhere near the focal point of that lineup on a contending team playing meaningful baseball. Right now, looks like he's going to slot in as their everyday right fielder as they're desperately trying to get someone to take Nick Castellanos off their hands. Yeah. I there is a chance. Sure. I think we could see him do some good things over in Philadelphia, and he for sure will be missed here, but same thing, like another season of those at bats was not, it can't happen.
Well, I went back and looked at a lot of Brandon Nimmo's tape and like highlight reels on YouTube and all that I think Rangers fans are going to like him pretty quickly. I think Nimmo is going to become a fan favorite pretty quickly. He's a down to earth guy, just loves the game of baseball, studies the game of baseball, loves to be out there, and he's going to be the new right fielder. And I think, if Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter can stay healthy, that's quite an outfield right there. Langford, Carter, and Nimmo. So I think fans are going to love him, and they'll kind of forget about Adolis when he starts playing well.
Yeah, I do too. I really think Ranger fans are going to love Brandon Nimmo. We already talked about how the type of hitter that he is going to fit the mold of what the Rangers are looking to do offensively, but you hit the nail on the head. I mean, he's a super, I've yet to meet him, but he's a super down, and I'm very much looking forward to it because he seems like a down to earth guy. Loves to play the game, plays the game hard, plays the right way. And I think something too that Ranger fans should cling on to and feel proud about is like basically, he said straight up, like, hey, I wouldn't have waived my no trade clause if I didn't think this team can compete.
Yeah.
He was assured that this team is going to compete. They are trying to win. So that is something that you've got to hang your hat on, that a player like that wanted to leave, accepted and was willing to leave New York to a team that's going to be, is expected to be amongst the World Series contenders. Obviously last year didn't work out. It was what it was, missed the playoffs by, a hair. Who knows what happens if they get in, but someone like that was willing to leave a situation like that to come here. I think that's something that you can be proud of.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So I think it's going to be great. So anyway, the Rangers, let's take a look at their roster at the moment. If you look at depth chart, they only have 3 players listed as starters: Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, and Jack Leiter. So we've got Kumar Rocker, we've got Jake Latz, who had a really good end to the season last year, and there's still a possibility of external options as well. So how do you think they're going to finish out the rotation? We're already into January. We're 60 something days or 30 something days away from pitchers and catchers reporting.
Yes, we are closely inching up on that time, man. Offseason feels like it's flown by.
Yes, it does.
But the pitching, yes, I think there's going to be an external addition or two. Are they going to go out and hit the top of the market for a Ranger Suarez type? I don't know. I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't completely shut it down, but I wouldn't bet on it. But I think that they are going to look externally for at least one more option. I would be surprised if they didn't. And then, outside of that, let's see. I think they're really like, all right, let's see if Jack Leiter, let's see if Kumar Rocker, if Jacob Latz gets a spot to crack the rotation. Obviously, Cody Bradford's going to be coming back at some point. It's outside of DeGrom and Evaldi, which, I mean, I'm kind of discrediting that. Like, that's not one of the best 1-2 punches in baseball.
Yeah.
Outside of those two, the young guys have to be looking at this as a real opportunity right now. Who is someone going to take that step forward? And I know a lot of people, and myself included, are looking at Jack Leiter as someone who we finally saw some flashes from last season. Was a solid rookie year. Can he take that bigger leap forward this year and really solidify himself as a top end starter?
And I think he can. We'll just have to wait and see. He was, like you said, he really improved as the season went on, just like Jake Latz did. So the Rangers have some work to do on that. They have some work to do in the bullpen. They have a lot of people in there right now, but I don't know if they're all going to stay. So bullpen is coming together. It's not going to be anywhere near what it was last year, though.
Yes, it has been a interesting ride with the bullpen. I wrote a story about this not too long ago, and I kind of took a step back and look at the bigger picture, right? If you remember before last season, the Rangers had virtually no one in their bullpen and had to rebuild it all. They went out, they signed guys to 1-year deals that the average baseball fan didn't know, right? Hobie Milner, Sean Armstrong. They brought in Robert Garcia, Jacob Webb. They brought Chris Martin back, obviously, was probably the most household name of the group. And they were one of the best units in baseball outside of the blown saves. Excuse me, which the blown saves, obviously, I'm not just going to toss that to the side because that, along with the offense, cost them a chance at the postseason. I looked, and I think I believe the Rangers blew 29 saves last season. If you take 10 of those games and give them to the Rangers, so not even half, they win the division.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to discredit that at all. Yeah. But what I am saying is that, this was one of the best units in baseball. And, they even add to it at the deadline, right? Danny Coulomb and Phil Maton come over. And then as the season went on and you started to look at this, it became, wow, this is a really good bullpen. And it kind of shifted to, okay, how much of this bullpen is going to be retained?
Yeah.
And the answer, not a lot.
Chris Martin.
Phil Maton, Hobie Milner, Jacob Webb, all going to Chicago. Sean Armstrong signed with Cleveland, even though there was a rumor that there was some interest there between the two sides of reworking something and trying to get a reunion. Obviously, Danny Coulomb is still out there on the board. Chris Martin is back. But yeah, it's going to be very different. You bring in Tyler Alexander and Alexis Diaz. Diaz was an all-star in 2023 and has shown flashes that he can be that guy. Kind of had a rough last couple of years, and you're hoping those two guys can be this year's, Hobie Milners and Sean Armstrongs.
Yeah. Now, speaking of outliers, I wanted to cover this before we get into, the offensive side of it. Jock Peterson, I believe, had an outlier season last year. I don't think we saw Jock Peterson last year. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I think that's a player that's been in the league putting up, pretty consistent numbers for too long to say that's the type of player that he is. I think this year is going to be a much better season for Jock Peterson. I think he comes in, it's not his first year with the team. He's not, we'll see where Skip Schumacher chooses to kind of allocate him, but I don't think he's going to be working at first base as much. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It is always tough when you have a player that presumptively can only DH, right? Like he didn't play any outfield last year, and that was his main position, coming up. He played a little bit of first base, but I don't think it's something that the Rangers really particularly want to have consistently. So that does kind of make it hard on yourself in a sense when you can only get at bats at DH. But I totally agree with you. I think a bounce back. If I could pinpoint one guy and say, hey, I'm confident in a bounce back year from him, as crazy as it seems like, Jock Peterson's been there and done that. Like you would have to like him, to do that.
I don't know about you, but that's the biggest complaint I've gotten from other fans and family and friends is, why is he still on the team? Why didn't they cut him? I'm like, because he had a bad year. Players have bad years. He's not going to have 2 years in a row like that. And if he does, then he's done. But he's not. Like, he's just too good of a player to have back-to-back years batting $150 and hitting like 5 home runs. That's not going to happen this year. I think. I mean, I'd even call now. I think 25 home runs is what he's going to hit this year.
Wow. Hey, I think the Rangers would love that.
Oh, yeah.
Also, not to mention, because I've gotten that question too, he had a player option. All right. Yep. Like, okay, it's not rocket science how he's back on the team. Like, but
he wanted that money, man. He wanted that money.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, I think you're looking at a guy who has been, like I said, been in the big leagues. He's one of the most veteran players on this roster. He's been on different teams. He's made a living hitting. So I think that, I think it's safe to say that he is not going to have another season like that.
Yeah, I think that's totally safe to say. So let's talk about some of the little rascals from last year. So on their depth chart, they do have Michael Hellman. They do have Cody Freeman. They do, they have they have Sam Haggerty. He wasn't part of that, but he's still, they got some of these guys on the list as players that might make the team out of spring training. So, I mean, Cody Freeman showed us a lot in September last year. Michael Hellman was very good at the end of the year too. Do you think those two guys can fight for a spot on this team?
Absolutely. I think you look at what Michael Hellman did, and he was really impressive. Oh yeah. Really throughout his tenure there. I remember I went to my first Round Rock game, actually. It was right when he got sent down after he was pretty impressive, but then he got sent down. And I remember looking at him like, this guy's going to be back up with the Rangers pretty shortly and impacting the team. And sure enough, he was. Yeah. I remember he went on a stretch for like a week and a half in September. It was like
crazy. Yeah. On
the team. And he, I'm not going to say like, he does it all at the big league level consistently, obviously, because we hadn't seen that yet. But like, he's a guy that's shown that he could potentially hit for power, hit for speed. Hit for speed. Goodness me. Hit for average.
We haven't done this in a while. It's okay.
He can do it all. He's a good defender. Obviously had some insane home run robberies last season. So with him, absolutely. I think he's someone that can make an impact on the team. And then with Freeman, right? Like, you start to see an opportunity open up for him with Marcus Semien not being the everyday second baseman anymore. You have to look at it right now and assume that he's probably going to be platooning with Josh Smith at second base, a guy that can play multiple positions well, was impressive at the plate, puts up a really good at bat. And something that Chris Young and Justin Veely have talked about is like, we want the team to grind out at bats more, to work the opponent's pitcher more. That doesn't mean we want every single person in the lineup to do that, right? You're not going to ask Corey Seager, hey, go up there and really work this pitcher, right? You're not going to ask him to do that. But you look at Cody Freeman, and that's someone that does that very well, and you need that in your lineup. So absolutely, I think those guys have a great chance to make the team and have an impact.
And I think one of the reasons I'd want him there, what you said first, second base with Cody Freeman, with Marcus Semien being gone, I think it's Josh Smith with him. But also, we haven't had a season yet where Evan Carter and Corey Seager stayed healthy for the entire season. And I mean, if Evan Carter goes down with injury, I would feel just as good with Michael Hellman out there as I do with Evan Carter out there, and also at second base, if Seager goes down, Josh Smith is a great shortstop, and that would put Cody Freeman right there at second base. And there's still Ezekiel Duran. Do you think he's still with this team when the season starts?
I do. I think that the Rangers, this is Ezekiel Duran's chance. And you know what? Honestly, I've even been kind of writing him off, right? Like, forgetting about him. He could very well factor into the second base role as well. I think they need to do something with him. Honestly, though, like I would consider myself to have a good amount of Rangers knowledge. Obviously, like rightfully so, right? Like that's what I do for a living. I have Ezekiel Duran is something that I've been trying to figure out. I feel like since I've been on the beat, like what are they going to do with this man? Where is he going to play? What is he like as a big league player? Like his case is just so interesting. It's so hard to definitively like even guess. Like where is he going to be? What is he going to do?
Yeah, but and that's true. And then another guy who impressed me last year when he was healthy was Sam Haggerty. Sam Haggerty played good defense, and he's a smart player at the plate. He worked a lot of walks. He got a lot of good hits. He waited for his pitch. So he's a guy, again, that I think the Rangers really like on this team. And now we're talking about too many bench players. So someone is not going to make the team out of spring training.
Sure. I think with Haggerty, a quote that really stuck out to me from Skip Schumacher's opening introduction press conference was when he said baseball is won in the margins. And to me, Sam Haggerty is a player that wins you games in the margins. Like he does the little things right, takes extra bases. Like you said, works counts, has a great approach to the plate, works walks, is a good fielder. That's someone that you want on your team. And another point too to consider is that with Michael Hellman, and I know you just mentioned, so many guys, so this kind of plays as that. With Michael Hellman, right, like he's still a young player. Yeah. You don't want a young player being your fourth outfielder necessarily. Yeah. With someone like Haggerty, and I'm not saying Haggerty is your fourth outfielder because he can play the infield, just as well. Correct. Someone with Haggerty, like he's a veteran guy that can sit on the bench for a week and a half and go in and be fine and still be able to impact the game. So that's just something interesting to think about if you're weighing the two.
Yeah, he's the Travis Jankowski from a few years ago, that could just come in and play amazing defense, jump up and steal home runs, everything he did in the outfield. Yeah. And he's back with the Rangers, by the way. Remember, he's one of the coaches this year.
I'm thrilled to have Travis Jankowski.
I can't wait to talk to him the first game I get down there.
Everyone can agree that he is one of the best guys in Major League Baseball. So having him around team is going to be awesome.
I agree with you 100%. All right. So a lot has happened. A lot is still going to happen. We are back and we are going to stay back. We're not funny. I said back because that's what took me out, but no, we're going to stay. We got a lot to talk about this year. This spring is going to be crazy. If news breaks, I'm going to start doing those shorts again where I just sort of talk about that for a second and put that out so you guys can stay up to date. So we are back and we plan on keeping you guys up to date. Kane, tell people where they can find you now, because Fans First stopped doing writers and now they're just doing podcasts. So where can people find you now?
Yes, absolutely. So it has been a very, very interesting. Oh, wait, actually, we didn't talk about Bochy. Hold up.
Oh, that's right. Well, go ahead and say this, and then we'll talk about Bochy to close it out.
Yes. So it has been a very interesting offseason. Like Ben said, Fans First no longer. We were informed that our writing department was being paused, and I was extremely blessed for my time there. With that being said, you guys have been seeing some content from me. So I am extremely grateful. I have recently joined the Roundtable Sports team, and I am writing there. So you guys can find all my articles on my Twitter. That's where I'm plugging them, as well as the Roundtable website. So if you just search up Roundtable Sports, you'll go over and you'll see like a little thing where it says teams, and they have a Rangers one, and you can actually like join the community. I'm still learning the lingo, so I don't know exactly how this works. You can join the community, and I know they have an app and like an email you can sign up for, but you can like join the community and see like me, and we have a really great team of writers that also picks up for the Ranger stuff that I don't write. So they get that, and you can see all that. So it's been really fun making content again. I'm loving it and glad to be back there and glad to be back here with you, Ben.
Yeah, and that's who you'll be covering the team with, right, this year?
Yes, that is who I'll be covering the Rangers. So that is my job there. I am solely Rangers now. So that's what I'm doing, yes.
Well, I'll still be doing Dallas Sports Nation like I have for several years now. So Ricky has still been great to me, still great with the credentials, good to have those, good to be able to get there. And I'm going to try to do like I did last year, make 10 or 12 games instead of only making 5 or 6. Cause man, there's nothing like being there. And that, especially when I went down for the whole A's series last year, man, there was nothing like being there for 3 games in a row. So nice. I felt like a real writer there for a minute.
Yes, it is a grind, but every single person in there will tell you that it is very, very fun.
Yes, it is. It is a blast. And sometimes, especially I remember a couple years ago when we were covering it, we had like an 18 inning game. We were all just sick and tired and ready to go home, man.
This episode has been great, reminding me of how excited I am to go back until you just brought up extra innings.
Yeah.
Those ones aren't fun.
No, but everything else is really fun. The pregame stuff is what I really enjoy. Getting down on the field, walking around, watching batting practice, talking to other media, talking to players. That's the fun part right there.
Yes, absolutely. I cannot wait to be back with the people. The people really do make the experience. Everyone from the parking attendants to the people that check you in to our amazing kitchen staff, the people make the experience. So
you're exactly right. Elevator. I love the elevator guys, man.
Yes, the elevator operators are the best. Absolutely.
All right, so let's finish out. Speaking of, you guys will notice I still have Bochy in the intro when you hear it, because that was a great quote. Like, how can I take that out right away? But let's talk about Bochy a little bit, Kane. He brought us a World Series championship, and we'll never forget that. But I kind of saw the writing on the wall before the season ended. I believe you probably did too.
Yeah, honestly, he was so good about it. The thing that was so great about Bruce Bochy is that those who were there every day really, really did form a relationship with him, because you're talking to him twice a day.
Yeah.
And so we knew that we could, ask him stuff and see what happened. So there were so many okay, if we just ask him, hey, are you going to come back next year? We're not going to get anything from that.
No.
There were so many obscure ways. I remember someone asked him what he wanted on the City Connect uniform.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. That was hilarious. Trying to get him to say
anything and nothing. I really didn't know. I honestly I didn't. And like you said, brought us a World Series title. I'm gonna just say it. This is bias. I think the greatest manager in MLB history. Definitely the greatest manager in my lifetime. And that's from a baseball perspective, from just a Bruce Bochy, the person perspective.
Oh man. Yeah.
We're all, I can talk about that for hours. We are all going to miss having him around the ballpark every day. Ben, I know you will too.
Oh yeah. Cause my first manager to cover was Chris Woodward, and then we had, then it went around, and then we had Bochy, right? We hired Bochy. I know there's one in between there, but I'm getting to Bochy because, I'd only covered about 30 games by that point that Bochy got here, 30, 35 games max. And so I'm still kind of awkward down on the field. And I remember several times that he would just walk up and pat me on the back and be like, well, how are you today, man? And like you said, just like, this dude is super famous, one of the best managers of all time, but he took time to just he doesn't just talk to his friends down there. Everybody was his friend, kind of like Tony Beasley. Everybody was his friend too. And I'm going to miss that dude as well. But yeah, Bochy, I wish him the best. He's in San Francisco in the front office again. They love him out there. And we love him here now too. So best of luck to Bochy in San Francisco.
Absolutely. There's so many stories we could write. I asked you your favorite Bruce Bochy memory. There's so many stories, but I think this one sums up just how much he cared about people and sought out a personal relationship. I remember last year at FanFest, how FanFest works for us that are working, if you don't know, is we're down in the Lexus Club, and there's two rooms, right? There's a room that has a big long table where we're all working at, and then there's a room with a backdrop where we will go interview the players and the coaches when they get done doing their Q&As on the field or autograph sessions. They'll come down there and answer questions from us. So I remember last year at FanFest, we interviewed Bruce Bochy, which was great, and talked whatever in the room where we did the interviews. And then 10 minutes later, we're all around the big round table and working, and he comes into the other room, sits at the table, and he's like, guys, how was your off season? His ask was about our off season and talking about his off season. It was every day was like that. And I felt like I'm a big learner. I love to learn.
Yeah.
I felt every time I talked to Bruce Bochy, I learned something new about the game. It was just a constant, I tried to be a sponge around him as much as I was doing my job. I learned so much. And like you said, obviously my first year was 2022 as well. So I covered Chris for, until August. And then,
and then it was Beasley. Yeah.
Really the manager that that I knew, that's the manager. So it's going to be bittersweet not having around, but Skip Schumacher is one of the smartest baseball minds that I've ever talked to. So I am very excited to pick his brain. And then Tony Beasley, oh my gosh. When people say the greatest person you've ever met,
he is. No, he is. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm going to miss him very much too.
Yeah. I was going to say for me, I went to spring training the year after the World Series 2024. And I was out talking to one of the guards. I don't remember what it is. And so I went into the media room and he'd already started his press conference. And I remember he stopped and just watched me walk all the way into the room like this and then went back to talking. And afterward, he came up to me. And this is when I realized his character and what he was like. And he goes, "What, you still on Texas time?" So I was late to his press conference. He asked me, "Hey, are you still on Texas time?" I was like, "No, I got caught up talking." He goes, "I'm just messing with you, man." So he made me feel comfortable my first day at spring training. So
that's funny. There's so many good stories. Even his stories from his playing days, are so good. It's so funny.
Uh-oh. Yeah, there you are.
Oh.
All right. Well, that should do it for us tonight. We will do this again next week. Hopefully CJ will be recovered. If not, it'll be just Kane and me again. So Kane, you're officially part of the show now. I already told you that, but I'm making it on air. It's me, you, and CJ now. So you can't get out of it now. You're actually one of the members of the show. So
I'm on.
You know what? I keep saying I need to send you swag. I really need to send you some swag. I haven't done that yet.
Yes, absolutely. I will. You send me a nice package and I'll be repping the Ranger.
All right. Well, there you go, man. All right. Well, I'll see you guys next week. Drop the deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.